Hello, my name is Joe Mazza, and I'm a Republican candidate for First Selectman. I'm seated here with our entire ticket, candidates for Board of Selectmen, Board of Education, and Board of Finance. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Board of Selectmen candidates, and then we'll talk to a representative from the Board of Education, and then a representative from the Board of Finance. The Board of Selectmen this year is a 4-year term. And we have Cindy Cartier, who's right in front of me. She's running for re-election. Charles Havner, he's running for election for a seat on the Board of Selectmen. And myself, I'm running for, like I said, First Selectman. It's very important this year that everybody get out and vote. We have had a very, very, very good campaign, but we're not going to take anything for granted. It's important that everyone come out and vote, and we don't take this race for granted. I'm going to turn the mic over to Keith and tell us something about the Board of Board of Education.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm proud to be joined by the rest of the candidates here for the election process. We've got some fantastic candidates here with great experience in running multiple types of organizations, business experience, and educational experience. They are John Ireland, who's seated to my right, and the vacant row behind him is Sue Renner. Both of them are newcomers to the election process and looking for their first term of 4 years on the Board of Education. Linda Santacora is right behind me as well. Linda's running for re-election to the Board of Education, and she's been serving for 2 years. I served for 18 years with you. I look forward to another 4-year term. I've served as Board of Education Vice Chairman. And I think one of the most important issues before the Board of Education is continuing the excellence in our educational process while taking and being very conscientious of what the economic climate is doing to the costs and expenses that we have to run the town. And a second big issue is how do we plan for the future generations in a new school facility and what the proper way to approach renovations versus new and further discussions there. With that, I'd like to turn back over to Dave Egan, who is going to share with you the Board of Finance candidates.
Yes, thank you very much, Keith. My name is David Egan. I'm running for re-election to the Board of Finance. I served on the Board of Finance for the last 6 years, and again, I'm seeking re-election. My running mates are Kimberly Brockett, who I think you all know. Kimberly has been on the Board of Finance for 4 years. She's probably one of the most qualified people in public government here in Guilford. She has a CPA. She's a certified public accountant, and she just has a raft of qualifications for the position. Sandy DeLito is our newcomer. She is running for a seat on the Board of Finance. I've known her now, I guess, for about 3 or 4 months. A wonderful, gracious, outgoing person. I know that she is going to bring a fresh face and some very, very new and creative ideas to the Board of Finance. So I can't tell you how pleased I am to be running with the people that I'm running with. With respect to the issues that the Board of Finance is going to be grappling with over the next 4 years, I think for the most part they've been going over time and time again during the course of this campaign. Specifically, we have to deal with the fund balance. We have to do with our rating in the credit markets. Should the voters see fit to proceed with new school construction, that's going to be a critical issue. And then there's also the other matter of bringing the whole budgetary process under control. As you will recall, we had a referendum this past spring, where the opposing party sent a budget to the voters calling for a 7% tax increase. I can guarantee you, with Republican control of the Board of Finance, Republican control of the major boards in this town, you will not see that again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, David. I'm going to start off with our Board of Selectmen candidates. I'll start with myself first. I've been on the Board of Selectmen for 6 years. Prior to that, I was a member of the Board of Finance for 10 years. I'm an accountant by trade. I have an accounting practice in town. And prior to that, I was in private accounting and management and worked for an international corporation where I was the CFO for domestic operations. I feel that one of the overriding problems in our town, obviously, is town finances, like Dave has said. And one of the ways, there's several ways to get our hands around town finances. First of all, is we have to become more efficient in the way we operate town government. We have to identify our inefficiencies, correct them, and become better at what we do at a lower cost of government. Second of all, I think which is very important is that we have to get aggressive about economic development. And that means paying attention to the needs of our current business base and attracting new, good, clean businesses for Guilford that would add to its character and its economic base. With that, I'm going to pass it off to my colleagues, starting with Cindy Cartier, to have her tell you something about herself and how she sees her role on the Board of Selectmen.
Thanks, Joe. I'm Cindy Cartier. As Joe said, I'm seeking re-election to the Board of Selectmen. I've served the past 2 years, and prior to that, I served on the Board of Education for over 3 years, and prior to that, I served on the Planning and Zoning Commission, where I also had the position of chairman for a period of time. Like many of us, we all have identified the problems of what's facing us in this town, but I believe and I know that this ticket right in front of you has the answers and the solutions to get us out of the current situation we're in. I'm extraordinarily frustrated, and I think people have heard me say this over the last 2 months, but particularly the last 10 years, I've said over and over again that if we don't do some long-range planning that involves sustainability of our economic development, our land use planning, our facilities planning, things of that nature, and bring it all together in one comprehensive plan, we're not going to have sustainability of the town overall, and that's kind of where we're at. We focused a lot on land use and land preservation, which is absolutely wonderful, but we haven't taken care of the other elements, and that's in part and parcel why we're at where we're at. I think it's also important to note that the current administration, of which our opponents are part of, have brought you an 20% tax increase in the last 4 years. And it's not so much, I mean, that number in and of itself is frustrating. But what's also important to note is with the 20%, we've had a really challenging environment in the sense that we've had to stop all of our capital improvements. We've been basically just band-aiding and paying the basic bills, but not planning for the future. We've rated the fund balance, so our bond rating has dropped. So it's not just the 20% in the last 4 years that's frustrating. It's that we haven't taken care of business. If we've taken care of business with that 20% and we were sitting in the lap of financial luxury, I'd say, okay, maybe the 20% was a little excessive, but it got us where we need to go. Unfortunately, it hasn't, and we have tremendous challenges in front of us. So myself, with everyone, we're looking forward to bringing you a slate, and it's important that you elect all of us so that we can bring the majority in these ideas forth. And I'll turn it over to Charlie at this time.
My name is Charles Havard. I'm running for Board of Selectmen with Joe and Cindy. I've been in town since 1972. I raised and educated my family here in town. I've owned and operated a small business on Route 1 for over 25 years. Also during that time, I have served on 9 different boards and commissions. And it's this experience that I hope to bring to the Board of Selectmen. I hope that we will be able to expand our communication not only between our boards, but also between our citizens. We have a tremendous investment in regulations and open space, new Town Center South and CAM regulations are coming aboard, and these are going to require extensive communication with the citizens, and I hope with my experience on all these different boards and commissions will add to that. Thank you. John.
Thanks, Charles. My name is John Ireland. I'm running for the Board of Education. I've lived here for about 5 years now. I've got 3 kids currently moving through the Guilford school system. I also currently have running a business, actually the CFO and CEO of a business called Sightlines here in town. We actually provide facility services and facility consulting to colleges and universities across the United States. I'd like to see some, 3 basic things in education I think we're working on. One is obviously educating the children in the best way possible and also being fiscally responsible when we actually go and do that. The second one is, the facility issue, how are we actually going to improve our current facilities. I do think they are in need of improvement. And third being the long-term planning and seeing, as Cindy actually said, making sure that our town is sustainable for the future, not only from the town side, but also from the educating of our children. I'd like to now pass it on to Sandy.